Hey everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. I got some more of the computer shopper. Again, I'm getting into this celebrating Windows 95 30th anniversary thing right now. You know, it was such a big change. I know they were just chasing the Mac back then, we all know that. But it was a big change. If anyone wants to watch any interesting movies on that, hunt down Pirates of Silicon Valley. It's a great film. I think it was on Turner or TNT or something. It was made by them. And Anthony Michael Hall and Noah Wiley, is that it, from ER? Those guys were in it, starring as Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. And oh gosh, who plays Bomber? The guy that plays Bender on Futurama, John, it'll come to me, but it's a good thing to start with. So today, because if anyone saw my last one, I've got a big issue with my issue here. There's a page that's starting to rip out, and it's created this horrible seam, so I've got this clamped down so I can do this. And I thought I'd start with this media section first, because it seemed pretty fun. There's a few things in there that I think I've never seen before. I just kind of looked at the intro in the. I should probably just go through the menu, the index, the table of contents in the front, whatever you call it for that, just to show that all the different categories. But I thought I'd start with this ad, which is pretty close to it, because I can't remember if this is in the last one. I'll cut it if it was already in the last one. But Dragon Slayer, I remember getting that when it first came out, and it was really good quality for being such bad quality at the time, in a sense. But they did a real great job. I mean, all the gameplay was there, so I really thought it was fantastic. But I mean, you could see that this era for Adam's Family was probably out, maybe the second one by then, and just a lot of stuff had space shuttle stuff in it. Like, that was the big thing. Space shuttle was so amazing and futuristic, but it had been around for a decade. So I really like seeing this Dragon Slayer, because I do like playing that. I can't even, the Horde, I've never played that, but some people love it. So, but let's move on. I wanted to start with, they've got this multimedia section here, it's called. And, it's not just about just what we're seeing here. Maybe I can use this to hold this down a little bit. There we go. Now it kind of blocks that. It's just there. So pre-comp. Oh, per comp. What the heck? Is that the brand name? Per comp? 75, P75, Serious Business. One of the stories in this is talking about how the personal computers were getting there for under a couple $1,000 instead of just the business level ones, and they were getting pretty fast. So they're the table of contents for these reviews, you can see right here, they're doing that. Winway Resume, the Sony, CopyWorks Sound, department, Spin Doctor, and then you get into the things down here, like you get some titles, but then you've got things like Re-elect JFK, Bioforge, I think everyone's heard of, Pizza Tycoon, why don't I remember that? And Renegade, Battle of Jacob's Star, and then other stuff here. So we're gonna flip through this little section. They're just talking about here how, much faster these are. It's got all the fancy 14 for modems, which eventually we get to 56K with compression and stuff. But that was still a few years away. But around the time that came out, we started getting high-speed internet too, which was nice within a year or two. I remember not using my 56K modem very long, and I had gone with a surfboard. I went with that instead of US Robotics, because it was cheaper, and there was two competing versions of 56K. And I remember for like the first 6 months, I couldn't connect to AOL at 56K with it until they adopted the other standard, and I was kind of irritated with that. But eventually it caught up. So this was a fun time starting in. I mean, Windows 95 really changed the trajectory of everything for PCs, even though they were pretty popular with Windows 3.1. It's not like Microsoft hadn't already copied the graphical user interface, which was made by Xerox, actually, that Steve Jobs infused like $1 million into Xerox at the time in Palo Alto, and got the preview of like the mouse and the graphic user interface and stuff like that. So that's how he decided this is how we're going forward with the Apple products. And then of course Microsoft and Bill Gates, they were like, my goodness, we need to do this too. This is the way of the future. And they were right, and it's still around. Nothing's topped it yet. I don't think the touch screen stuff for computers has really taken off. So we just have a preview here. You probably could have read through all that by now with my jibba-jabbing. So Winway Resume. So, yeah, resume makers have been around for a long time. This is version 3.0. Usually you're getting one per year. So if this is 95, you can go back to the early 90s to say that they had Winway Resume. I've got a copy of this somewhere, and it was pretty garbage. It was better just using some samples off the internet and throwing them into Word and then retailoring them to yourself. But I'm sure, you know, back then this was probably pretty handy, and it would make people's resumes look spiffy. Sony CD-ROM Discman. I was watching David Hoffman. He has some great throwback stuff. He was a guy that did a lot of stock footage, and he was looking at the store around Christmas time, Palo Alto computer store out there. It looked like a giant Radio Shack to me, but it's really neat. Look that up if you want to see it. It's really been uploaded very recently in the last couple of days, and people were talking about this one guy that was selling a portable CD player for his car. And the guy was like, and in the comments like, well, you got to tell him, you didn't tell him how much it's going to skip. Well, I mean, by 95, I think anti-skip technology was getting pretty good. It wasn't like the TurboGrafx CD add-on that I had no anti-skip. You know, playing a game on that, you bump it just a little bit, and that's it. It's not recovering, and you lose your music until the next, you know, section starts up. But yeah, that's not something I could use in my car in the day. I definitely had to buy an updated one, which I never did. I just bought an actual in-dash unit that had real high-end anti-skip technology. But you were starting to see these ones that would be for laptops, because laptops were so limited to their space. Very few had CD players in them early on. So you'd have an interface card, which PCMCIA. I think they were called something a little different before this, but these were really handy for anybody because of the future of media and the storage on it. I mean, if you needed a database or something portable. Oh, speaking of that, this came with a CD. I don't have that CD anymore, but I did discover the very CD that came with this magazine volume on the Internet Archive, and I'm going to look into that after too, because I have downloaded that, and I will be taking a peek at what's on it sometime to complete this whole era of pre-95. My plan is to get through these in the next month. But this gives you some time too to look at everything on here. You know, getting into dictation. I think when I bought Windows 98, I got a version for free. You know how they usually would give bundles if you did upgrades or something. I mean, I remember it was a big deal at Staples when we had Windows 98. We were giving away huge bundles of just extra software that were all like knockoffs of stuff, except for Naturally Speaking. Dragon Naturally Speaking came with it, and it was really good. I mean, I never trained it because I didn't use it for anything really, but I messed around with it, and it got pretty good pretty fast even back then. Oh, so this ties into this guy. He wrote the Private Eye stories, Philip Marlowe. I remember it was a TV show. So I guess it's tying into that. The most appealing aspect of Trouble Is My Business is the access it gives to his writings. Okay, so I thought at first maybe it was, you know, like a game where you played, but it's just really getting into all of his writings. So keyboards. I mean, this is the era of keyboards. See, not even the Windows key. I don't even know when the Windows key became popular. Was it during Windows 95? I'm pretty sure it was. That's when the Windows key came out. So Windows 95 coming out, and you're putting on a keyboard that looks really nice and advanced. I gotta see what else is on here. Offers separate slide controls for balance, volume, bass. Oh, there's speakers built in. I couldn't tell. It's such a dark picture. So that has speakers. So that's really nice. A pair of LCD volume meters that sync with the sound. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, now why don't they have a Windows? Not that Windows keys were that important, really. But yikes, $229. But I mean, that's pretty fancy. This would be a great keyboard for somebody. Now, what did it plug into? Let me see if I can zip through here and see what the port was. So yeah, it's got the speakers in here, 4-inch magnetically shielded speakers, which is useful. 20-watt amplifier. Now, what does this plug into? Goodness. Now, it's not a sound card, it doesn't seem. The board is IBM compatible. Additional features, microphone jack, headphone jack, omnidirectional microphone. Nice keyboard. I mean, real nice keyboard, but someone really needs to have this. I still don't see what it plugs into. It's probably, I'd imagine at this time, PS2, but it must also have some additional plugins to handle these other things. And sometimes things like this might have even needed a small card, but I don't see that, so I guess, you know, and then other times you might need to plug it into like a serial port to do additional features, but probably just the audio and the keyboard. But those meters, what were those running off of? The volume meters. Maybe it's just an internal thing into the keyboard, so. All right, look at this. Freedom. Who doesn't want to buy a computer like that, huh? I mean, that is amazing. I mean, that's all American. I wonder if it was made in America. Probably, things were back then. There's that USA Flex. Look at this tower. Big, huge tower. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I lost myself. 6 bays. Still, systems coming with the 5 1/4 floppy. Am I saying that right? 5 1/4. It's been so long. But these are nice looking systems. Whole classic family one here. Comes with some games, speakers, everything you want. CD-ROM, multimedia, a joystick, or a flight stick is what I would have called them back then. You got other ones where you've got, it looks like an Epson printer. Yep, Epson printer. Real nice. You know, plain Jane builds, but still very nice. Yeah, I'm not supposed to be looking at ads right now, so let's get out of here. Okay, multimedia, here we go. Quest 5.0 fulfills the search for a powerful multimedia toolkit. Let's see, what are the highlights? Quest frame edit mode lets you add objects such as text, video, and assign attributes. Oh, so this would make stuff that you could actually click on, it would do things? Boy, what's the new version of that? You know, those tutorial pieces of software. I actually got a free copy of one. Oh boy, off of Humble Bundle once. I think it was, I can't remember it. I'll pop it down in there. So I wonder if it was an early version of this. Yeah, it says right here, it's a Windows Slick Sophisticated Authoring application providing a complete toolkit for building multimedia presentations. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking it was. So that's really neat. What's funny is when I see this stuff, I don't remember a lot of this because I wasn't into business stuff back then. So it's interesting. I'd want to go look this up and see how it works. I imagine there's, you know, really outdated copies on the internet somewhere that, you know, they don't care about. I wouldn't even imagine most of these companies are still in business, but sometimes I dig into that too. CD Essentials brings order to your CD collections. Oh, well, okay, so this is just an organizer and stuff. This would be good for movies, not just CD collections. I think I just counted that I've got, goodness, like 300 CDs, different software and stuff. I'll have to do another recount. I was shocked. I guess you could be at the point where you had so much software, maybe not in these early days, but eventually where you'd want something to organize stuff. But that would probably also work for things like movies and music and stuff like that too. CD Essentials provides a simple interface for cataloging CD-ROMs. Oh, and automatically loading them? Now, how does that work? This feels like I saw something maybe LGR did one time. No, the automatic loading thing. I don't know what kind of, you would have to have one of those multiple CD loading trays or something, maybe one that spins, kind of like a carousel that would be used in, like a jukebox or something. They probably made such things. More multimedia. Let's see. What's flat and round and red all over? Oh man, that's a great joke. It's going to go down in the annals of comedic history, I think. It's probably going to be in the top 10. All right, moving on. So this is talking about magazines that were starting to come out on CD-ROM. What else do we got here? We got Blender. This is totally different. CompuServe CD organizes its articles in much the same way the online service did. Yeah, anyone who had CompuServe knows. I had them all back in the day. Like I said, I would play, using different one every few months if I could get another free trial. Like sometimes if you went long enough, you can get another free trial. You get 30 days. So you had, CompuServe, Prodigy, AOL, and I would jump around because it was pretty expensive. It was usually $20 for like 5 hours. That's pretty expensive, so you really had to, and everything was super slow. So I would jump around on those, and then eventually I would use for a while before I got high-speed internet, and it was worth paying for. Net Zero. You had a banner at the bottom. Net Zero was fine, for what I was doing at the time. Just dial up, but it was free. They just throw some advertisement on the bottom. I mean, we're all used to that now. Another classic CD publication. Newsweek. Oh, yeah. Newsweek is what we had to read in high school for contemporary affairs, I think the class was. So what do we got here on this side? Just more stuff. Click Interactive. It's hard. I'm leaving it up so you guys can just read through this stuff. But it's a lot of digital, CompuServe CD, Go Digital Interactive Magazine. I bet some of these are out on the Internet Archive if you search for them. So go ahead, take a peek. I might do that. It's kind of fun. I look through, I know this may seem boring, but I look through the not the Internet Archives, the Google newspaper stuff. A lot of times you can find a newspaper that's local to you or close to local to you, and you can go back in time and see like advertisements for long gone retail stores and businesses, which is really neat. You can verify when a movie was running at a theater near you. I would look at those at the time they were out, and I would say, oh, okay, I saw Ghostbusters at this theater, because it's just hard to remember. You can remember going to see things sometimes, but details get really fuzzy after time, so it's really useful. So I look at the newspapers. So again, looking at some old things like this, old CD-ROM magazines, you might find some really interesting stuff about the time that is just lost to history because it's not in other print in any way. But right here, here's the product listing. You probably can see all that right down in here, the different ones. And there's probably a lot more than that. And some of these might be useful, for people that did gardening or house improvements and stuff like that at the time before YouTube was around. I mean, YouTube has become what This Old House was for most people, those kind of shows, You go to YouTube and you can look up exactly what you want. Sometimes it just goes to This Old House and tells you how to do it. All right, computer eyes capture still video frames with these. Oh, it's a input card. Car's outfitted with these, with 3 types. Wait, what are the 3 types? All right, 4060X 266 will get the job done. Again, I remember mentioning how I had I said the wrong thing. I said Blaupunk, but it was Haupog. Video capture card, which was great. I could watch TV while I was on my computer. At the time, I didn't think of capturing like footage of video gameplay or anything back then because the storage just wasn't there to do such a thing. This is kind of something that probably would have been used, something similar to when all those game magazines were out at the time and they would capture still shots. They might use something like this. Compton's Multimedia Bible puts a new spin. That's exactly what we need. Let's have a reimagining of the Bible. There's a list of words I hate. Reimagine is one of them. I do not like that when they're going to reimagine a movie franchise or something like that, or when someone's like, let's reimagine the way you bank. I can't stand those words. It just drives me insane. All right, spin doctors. You know what? This is probably, what are they talking about? Dynamic link libraries. Let's see. According to statistics, software shows the average multimedia computer will still have titles in each. Those CDs needs to install this much data. Dynamic link libraries. Holy grail for many CD developers is a zero footprint installation, which means that there's no hard disk storage is required to run a CD. Okay, interesting. Not what I thought. So on here, Corel CD Creator. Oh man, this is before like all the easy CD creators and stuff that became more popular. Corel. I did not remember that Corel made it. Corel I always thought of was graphics. And let's see, graphics hijack. I saw that in here somewhere. What is hijack? Installation full blah blah blah. This last choice gives you 12 separate install blah 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 blah. Well, it doesn't really tell you much about it though. Okay, that's wonderful. What's it do? Oh well. Your mutual fund, yeah. I don't have a mutual fund. Anyone have a mutual fund? Well, if you do, you probably started way back with this. All right, the story of Civilization. That's probably interesting back then. Anyone that liked History Channel and stuff back in the day. Asymmetrics? Yeah, sure. Asymmetrics 3DFX. So that would have been a very fun and frustrating. I know that anytime I played with stuff like this in those old days, it was so slow. It was brutal. But that's what it was. But you were starting to get the technology that you would have seen in some of those early commercials and stuff like that. You know, and Pixar probably came out with Toy Story over this summer. Was that 95? Maybe I'm wrong. Feels like 95 was the right time when Toy Story came out. So you're getting into all that kind of high-end, look back, high-end graphics, I say, but it was. But people wanted to do that stuff at home. That, you want to do CAD stuff, like home planning, things like that. It was just fun to mess around with those things. I would usually buy one of those cheap $4.99 ones and play around with it, because even though it maybe did a third or a quarter of what the fancy ones did, I got, you know, into it and at least like messed around a bit. But I was not about to spend hundreds of dollars on something that I never would use seriously. But you know, you never know if you're going to get into something and it's going to be real interesting and it might lead to a career, so you dabble in things. All right, here's some games. Pizza Tycoon. I don't remember Pizza Tycoon at all. It says it's from Microprose, so I think I'm going to try and track this down and you know, maybe download it. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll go to eBay, and I don't like, you know, just pirating software anymore, but if it's not available or it doesn't exist in any other format, I don't mind. I would always, if I do, as rarely as I do, say if I can't find this anywhere else, I would download this. And then I would just, you know, tell myself, you know what, if it ever comes out on Good Old Games or something and they rebring it back, because a lot of games just are eventually coming back on these things, and I'll spend the, you know, the $2.99, the $4.99 to buy it eventually. Try and keep my karma clean, you know. Give those publishers, because I mean, if I buy it off of eBay, the publishers aren't making money off it. But if I buy it off of Good Old Games, at least some of that money is going to those guys for their hard work from way back. But I mean, that was probably a hard sell for a pizza simulator, pizza place for nearly $50. But look at this great price, $47.95, not $49.99. That's how you sell and move product. Yeah, $2 and change discount. But let's see, what's their Pizza Tycoon interface is clean. The graphics are a delight. It's an attractive, one of the best to appear thus far. All right, looks fun. I mean, something that, you know, you spend 5 hours with and you're like, hey, I had that experience. BioForge, I remember playing the demo of this and thinking it was really cool looking, but it was very awkward. I think it probably had a, let's see, buyers of BioForge would also do well to have a 50 megahertz system, which I did at the time, because I was mentioning in the last video, I'd upgraded to one of those Evergreen overdrive chips, which was supposed to be equivalent to some sort of Pentium, but it was not. And I mean, it may have been able to process that fast. I don't know. I'd have to look up some old data sheets on it. But and it definitely processed faster. But my motherboard was probably limiting, you know, the bandwidth through there. So, but it did give me a nice boost and saved me a few more years of upgrading my PC. Ads. We've been through the ads, but you know what? They're here. I'm just gonna stop on it for a second because I didn't show all these ads in some of these sections. So here's one that I thought was interesting. Re-elect JFK. I mean, JFK is back in the news this year because of all the re-release stuff, you know, that's pretty much led to nothing more than everyone already speculated or knew. I haven't seen anything really come out from it, and they've released a bunch. I think they're still digging for more because a lot of this stuff is hidden. I mean, they're always finding boxes of information like never got looked at when things happened. I just saw something on 60 Minutes. I don't know if this was new or not, but they just found this box of like tapes and stuff from this guy that was scouting the Capitol during 9/11. And it's like, it's just been sitting somewhere and it almost got thrown out. And someone now finally discovered it and called up someone and said, hey, maybe you want to see this. And it's like, what's going on? Is all this stuff just being, you know, stored somewhere and never looked at? It's like the Ark, you know, that gets stored at the end of Indiana Jones, you know? It's there somewhere. Next thing you know, 50 years go by and no one remembers it was there. And they're like, hey, what's this piece of junk? We might as well throw it out for some new junk. and it was like this amazing artifact from the past. I'm kind of going off on my own imagination here, but that's what's going to happen. And that ain't real anyway. None of that's real. Everyone knows the Ark is like somewhere in Ethiopia or something, because, yeah, if it was there, they wouldn't move it, right? They just let everyone think it was there and never move it. I digress. All right, reelect JFK. I'm in conspiracy mode because this puts me right into it. So this is saying if you would be in the position of playing this game, trying to get JFK reelected, and look, search for answers for the failed assassination attempt. I mean, this game was way ahead of its time, because this is exactly what happened last year with Trump. I mean, that's amazing. I wonder how many similarities there are in this, going into this and seeing, I can't believe this. That's absolutely fantastic. 30 years ago, somebody put out a game that is, fictitious, but is real life today. Wow. Maybe this one's a real story too. Let's see. Renegade Battle for Jacob Star. Has anyone ever heard of this? I've never heard of this in my life. Even flipping through this, I never looked at this page for some reason, because I've never read those words. All right, let's see. Pages of Virtue, blah, blah, blah. It's a flight sim in there. I know a lot of these were popular back then, right? Because you had Wing Commander, stuff like that. So everyone was probably trying to piggyback on the success of that. And in between years of coming out with new games, sometimes people would make knockoffs. And once in a while, they'd be, good. Most of the time, they were a little lackluster. But let's see. Renegade lets you listen to audio CD while playing the game. Yes, that's always nice. Let's see. Thrustmaster weapon controls. Thrustmaster. They had some names. They had some names for... my favorite was the Blackhawk. Yeah. Let me say that slowly. The Black Hawk joystick. Right. The Black Hawk joystick. The Black Hawk joystick. The Black Hawk. It still sounds like it. Joystick. They had some great names for stuff back then. So what do we got? Learning Arcade. So this is for the younger kids, Chadwick and the Sneaky Egg Thief. I mean, does this not look like Dinosaur Train graphics? Remember that show? I mean, my daughter was, at the right age for PBS stuff at the time. Dinosaur Train probably reruns on those PBS cartoons only channels. We have one of those over-the-air networks here. There's that. But it looks like Dinosaur Train stuff. Chadwick and the Sneaky Egg. Electronic storybook. Okay, so it's not even really... It's just an interactive storybook. It's not... What do you learn from an interactive storybook? Maybe, I guess it's just supposed to give kids the idea of what you can mess with in life, Don't mess with everything. Just the stuff that you should be touching. Don't touch... Well, I bet you can touch the sun, which you shouldn't do. And what's the other thing? French Now. Here's, it's just French. Me and My World. This looks a little more interesting. Me and My World. Children can explore different environments and learn associated words. All right, well, that's fantastic. A little boring, but that's the end. That's the end of the multimedia and software section. I mean, there's other software sections, but this is just one chunk. And I'll try and throw up some information in between about all this stuff, and hopefully you guys find that a little interesting. And that's part 2. And as you can see, that's just one little chunk of this, I'm just going to document it all, mostly, this year. And it may go nowhere. It continues to be a series for me, backed by unpopular demand, but hopefully someone can zip through this and have a little fun looking back at the era right before Windows 95 came out, when you're still dealing with Windows 3.1 and the excitement leading up to Mac on a PC. Let's just say that Windows 95. All right, so thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. So long.